This is the new generation Hyundai Palisade, which looks fantastic. It has a very different presence to the previous model. It's luxurious, it does have plenty of great features, but it costs a lot of money. In this review, I'll tell you all about the standard spec and tech, also show you inside in all three rows, and we'll go for a drive and test out the new hybrid powertrain. So let's check it out, shall we? Thanks for subscribing. My name's Matt, this channel is called The Right Car. 3 rows of seats, petrol electric power, and also a heap of standard equipment. Seems like a really strong recipe, doesn't it? But you have to pay for it. Like, we're talking a lot of money, people. $90,000 before on-road costs. So it could be $95,000, $98,000 before it's parked in your driveway. That's because there's only one version of the Hyundai Palisade at launch. It's called the Calligraphy. It is an all-wheel drive hybrid with either 7 or 8 seats. If you want 7 seats, you get captain's chairs in the middle row, and it will cost you an extra $1,000. And there's another nice thing that I like about the Palisade. There's heaps of different colors you can choose from, but also a few different interior options, and it only costs $300 more to choose a different interior combo if that's what you want. But let's talk about what you're getting as standard, because 90 grand, you'd want to be getting a lot, and you are. There's full LED lighting all around the car. It's got 21-inch wheels with Pirelli tires. It's also got dual sunroofs. There's privacy glass, there's an electric tailgate, you got keyless entry, but I have had some issues with the keyless entry on this car, not working on the passenger side. Don't know why that is, but there's also plenty of other great features on the inside, including 12.3-inch touchscreen media system, 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, 14-speaker Bose sound system. You've also got sat-nav, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, both wirelessly available. There's a suede headlining, Napa leather upholstery, 16-way power adjustable driver's seat with memory settings, a 12-way power adjustable passenger seat, heated and ventilated front seats, power adjustable steering wheel with heating. There's also plenty of USB ports throughout the cabin, heated and ventilated second row outboard seats, heated third row outboard seats, heaps of other great features like a digital center mirror, head-up display, a full-size alloy spare wheel, connected services, and much, much more besides that. So I do think that this does have a lot of stuff for the money, but it is still a Hyundai SUV, and hey, I've got some alternatives that you might want to consider if you aren't sure about spending this much on a car from this brand. Firstly, Hyundai Santa Fe might be a great alternative to this. If you don't need 8 seats, and the 8th seat maybe isn't that useful anyway, it could be a very good choice because it still has plenty of practicality. It's got a hybrid powertrain or a turbo petrol if you want, and the pricing is much, much lower. And you're still getting heaps and heaps of standard spec and tech in that top spec Calligraphy in particular. But if you are looking for a 3-row hybrid family SUV from Hyundai, it could be a better bet for less money, in my opinion. Another option you might want to take a look at is the Mazda CX-90. Now, it is not perfect, but it is impressive in a lot of ways. It starts at a lower price point than this. It has a couple of different powertrain options, including a diesel or a petrol 6-cylinder hybrid powertrain. It's a mild hybrid, but it is still relatively efficient, plenty of power, and it's got lots and lots of features for the money as well. Another option, if you are thinking, well, I want to get a luxury car if I'm spending about this kind of money, have a look at the Volvo XC90. It starts at around $105,000. Sure, that's a lot more than this, but you're getting a Volvo. And it also has 3 rows of seats, a lovely mild hybrid powertrain in the base grade. You can get a plug-in hybrid if you prefer, but it's got loads of presence, loads of practicality, and it looks and feels really bloody good. So, would you choose any of those or something else? Have you say in the comments. I would love to know what you think about the new design of this Palisade, because it is very, very bold. It's different to before, obviously, but it's also got some polarizing elements to it. I think it actually looks really cool, but I've heard other people tell me, geez, that's hideous. I don't necessarily think it's hideous, but it is certainly a very different looking Palisade to before. Now, it is big. You're going to see the dimensions on your screen, more than 5 meters long wheelbase, so you need to be mindful of that. I'll also put the ground clearance on your screen so you can see for yourself. And yes, it is all-wheel drive, but it's not a super duper capable off-roader, but there might be something coming in that realm later on. The XRT model, which you'll see a shot of now, is coming to Australia in 2026, and it's going to look fantastic and go a bit further off the beaten track if that's what you want. Now, let's have a look at something I just need to call out in this car. Might be hard to see in the light, but it's got an awful lot of orange peel in the paint. It's not a very good quality paint, I have to say. I've got some other quality concerns, which I'll talk you through when we get into the interior, for the money at least. Now, at the back, you've got a strong looking design. I reckon it actually has a lot of street presence, and there's obviously an electric tailgate. But let's have a look in the boot and see what we are working with in terms of boot space. Yes, there are 3 rows of seats, as you see, and a lot of space behind that 3rd row as well. So if you are planning to use it as a family SUV with lots of stuff and lots of people, that could be pretty good for your requirements. Underneath the boot floor, you will find right here your jack and some extra storage space. I think that's a stereo component. And on the side, you've got some really, really great features. A 12-volt port, a power point, which is actually super duper handy for camping or adventures. You've also got some shopping bag hooks, tie-down points as well, and the same on this side, more attachment points to keep things in secure. Now, you've got the seat belts tied off to the side there because these seats do move up and down by way of this control right here. So you've got sliding, so you can actually slide the 3rd row forward if you need to, for whatever reason, just to give yourself a bit more depth to the boot. Or if you want to fold them down, you can just press the button over there. It'll drop the headrests and you'll be able to, yes, put them down out of the way. And then you'll have much more room to play. I'll put the 5 seats up cargo capacity on your screen, 5 or 4, because remember, you can get this car with captain's chairs if you prefer. But look, I think that is super practical if you're not going to have those 3rd row seats occupied all the time. It is going to be a fantastic 5-seater with a big boot. But hey, let's check out the rest of the interior and see what it's like. Oh, before we do, yeah, it does have a spare underneath there. Full-size alloy, which is excellent. Now, interior time. Righto, let's have a look at this interior, and it is pretty plush, I've got to say. The first impression is a very strong one, and I really do like some elements of the interior design here. This one obviously has this cream and dark blue finishing, and it looks really, really good in person. It might not necessarily translate that well through the camera because the blue looks more black, but it is still a very, very lovely finish in here, and some top quality materials used as well. You've got Napa leather on the seats, and they are lovely, lovely seats. So much adjustment, even for the passenger. And if you are trying to let people in and out of the back more easily, you can set this up so you've got a move forward system. You've also got a tilt forward and move forward, and you've also got a relaxation seat if you want to use that as well. Now, there's ventilation and heating for the front seats, which is excellent. And you've got plenty of other great features for the driver's seat too, including bolster adjustment, and you've got memory settings too. So you can really set it up to be a super comfy seat for your body type, and I really do like it. There's one thing that I don't like though. It has a little, I guess, extendable ottoman cushion section here, which might seem to make sense in an electric car where you would sit around and wait for it to charge, but in a car like this where it doesn't necessarily have the longest under thigh support for a taller person, I wish that was just an extendable cushion instead. You tell me if you think I'm wrong or right in the comments. Now, you won't find the Hyundai badge there. It's got the 4-dot Morse code badge instead. And I do think that you are getting some other really nice design cues here. So let's look at this dashboard, which kind of, to me, looks like a breaking wave. It is very, very neat and tidy. But there are some things that aren't neat and tidy. For instance, the fit and finish on some of these panels is not really good enough for $90,000. I'm not happy with that. I'm also not happy with over here. There's a section you can see right there, which is sort of just not even fit properly. So, and also these little bits, they sit a bit proud. So it's, you know, it's almost there, but it's sort of not quite as good as it bloody well should be for this money, I don't think, in the fit and finish department. But let's talk about usability. So you do have this 12.3 inch screen in front of the driver, plenty of information on that screen. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Here you've got a 12.3 inch touchscreen media system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It works a treat as far as I can tell, and I reckon that you'll get used to it pretty quickly. There's plenty of other menus beyond that. You do have connected services as well, so you can see what the weather's doing. You can see live mapping. You can also connect up to the car with an app and set the temperature and lock and unlock and all that sort of stuff. So it's really quite connected and high-tech feeling. And like I said, there's heaps and heaps of menus that you can play with here, and built-in sat-nav too, as I said. So lots of tech, and thankfully it's not all touchscreen. You've got this panel of buttons and dials down below, and thankfully it's not the sort of one where you rest your hand and bump things in some other Hyundai Kia Group products. This is better. This is much better, and you will get used to these controls easily. Here you'll find you've got a drive mode selector, so you can have terrain modes, like different off-road modes, or drive mode, so you can toggle through, and that changes a few displays, also changes the drive experience. Now, down here, you'll see a panel for your climate control. You do have climate adjustment for independent sides. So yes, you can have the passenger side warmer or cooler, which is good. The seat heating and ventilation controls are there, steering wheel heating there, and recirc button. Your fan adjuster, as you can see, and you can also toggle to the rear controls and then set the climate back there as well, and the fan speed too. So it's got plenty of usability and family friendliness in terms of those controls. Now, in front of this section here, you'll see you've got storage, there's a tray there, you've got a 12 volt, you've got lots of extra storage there, and there's no middle seat. It kind of looks like this should be a middle seat. I think in Korea there is one with a 3-seat setup in the front, but we don't get that obviously. Now, here you'll see you've got USB-C ports, 100 watt for those ones, which is excellent. That one's a connector. You've got a UVC cleaning system for your phone or anything that you think might need some UVC cleaning. And you've also got decent sized cup holders here. They might be a bit big if you're a small coffee connoisseur. That's a fingerprint thing, so you can set it up so you can just use your fingerprint to start the car, and wireless phone charger here as well. And in between the seats, you'll find there is a decent sized center console bin with a little light in there too, so you can actually see what's going on at night time. There's 2 bottle holders in the front door pockets. The materials, as I said, are all pretty quality up there. And over here, you'll see you've got a decent sized glove box and a little tray for storage above. So the thoughtfulness is all pretty bloody good, I have to say. Overhead, you've got some illuminated vanity mirrors, which do extend. I love that. You've also got the digital camera mirror. Have a look at this. So you can see if you had a lot of faces there, you might not be able to see quite as well, but you can do that instead. Yeah. Not bad, eh? Pretty nifty. And up here, SOS call button, because it does have the connected services. These are your sunroof controls, front and rear. They both open and slide. This one's got a manual opening cover, but the back one has an electric slider, and you've got lighting up there too. So good stuff, good finishing in some ways, and decent grab handles too, but not for the driver. Okay, so let's check out the middle row space and see what it's like. Righto, just opening up the rear shade, so it lets in a little bit of light. That does actually open as well, that glass roof. But just keep in mind, the control panel up here doesn't include a shade closer or opener, so that might be annoying for those passenger princesses in the back. Now, up here you do have a number of controls, as you can see. So you've got fan speed, you've got ventilation and heating for these window seats in the second row, and you've got temperature control as well, the airflow adjuster, you've got the overhead vents, which are actually super duper effective at keeping those in the back cool or warm. And in terms of the other amenities overhead, you've got grab handles, lights, hooks, and also you'll find some nice big shades to keep things cool in the back. Ambient lights in those grabs, and nice soft materials there as well. There's even a little warning system here, so if something's coming from behind, it'll tell you don't open your door. So that's pretty neat. There's cup/bottle holders in there, and also more below. And in terms of the storage, otherwise, yeah, you've got these adjustable pockets on the back. They're not completely enclosed, so things might slip out, and same on the other side. Another USB 100 watt port there and there, which is excellent. And down here you'll find you've got an extra storage cubby, which could be good to hide snacks for those longer trips. Now, in terms of the space back here, well, I've got plenty of room in the current seat position. That's set for me at 6 foot tall. Lots of knee room, heaps of foot room. These seats do slide forward, so you can allow more room for those in the very back row. And this seat also has a recline function to it, so you can lay back and be a bit more comfy on those longer trips. Headroom, as you can see, is very, very good. And let's have a look at some of the child amenities here. You do have ISOFIX points in the window seats if you need them, top tethers for all 3 positions here as well, a flip down armrest with some cup holders, and yes, this seat is a 40-60 split, so the bigger portion on that side. If you're going to have a child seat in like I do on that side, it might mean that you want to get into the back row using this side, but that is the road side, so just be careful and safe. Let me show you what it's like to get into the third row for someone who's awkward and tallish. So here we go. Okay, so let me press this button here to do the quick adjust, right? And then I need to plug this little thing in here so it's out of the way and see if I can get into the back. It's not the easy. Okay, let me just pull this back into the position it was just in, and oops, that's not good. Now, yes, you can see my knees are pretty hard up against it. And look, you do have adjustment here. You can slide the seat backwards or forwards if you want to make it more uncomfortable for yourself. And there's also tilt adjustment for the backrest, as you can see. So I've set it back a little bit if I want to sit forward, be a bit more uncomfortable, I can. But I do like the fact that, well, if you have this seat set forward just a little bit, you will have a lot more space for third row occupants. It will be adult friendly, but let's go through some amenities and then have a look at this seat. So here, USB-C port, 100 watts, those adjustments there. You've also got third row window seat heating, which is great. There are cup holders here. That's a bit plasticky though. Out there, a pretty good view, I've got to say. Nice big glass. Overhead, you've got the lovely vents, which are really, really nice, and you can switch the swivel there to turn them off or not. And up here, there are lights too. So that's all fantastic, I reckon. And let's have a look at the seat space though, because, well, it's not overly spacious for 3 people. I don't know how they pitch this as an 8-seater, because I don't know anyone who is 1 hand width wide, but yeah, anyway, you can make up your own mind about whether you think it's going to be usable as an 8-seater or not. Look, the space is actually pretty good. You've got ISOFIX points in the window seats for both sides, which is excellent. So you can actually fit plenty of kid seats in here. It's just whether you think it's actually going to be an 8-seater or not. And that middle seat belt does come down from in the ceiling. So if you're sitting there, you might have that dangling across your shoulder, and that could start fights. Get all the same amenities on that side though. So look, I reckon as a family-friendly bus, it's comfortable across all 3 rows and plenty of great amenities. You won't find a diesel 4-cylinder or a petrol V6 under the bonnet of the new Palisade. Instead, you've got this hybrid system. It's a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine with a 6-speed automatic transmission and an electric motor integrated into that gearbox. It's got all-wheel drive and it's got a 1.65 kilowatt hour lithium-ion battery pack. And that means, yes, it can drive fully electric. You can't necessarily get heaps and heaps of Ks out of that EV battery pack, but it will drive in EV on the freeway at low speeds in a mix of situations. So it's pretty impressive, but let me show you and tell you what I think about it when it comes to real world driving. Okay, I'm going to show you some things that I do every time I drive the Hyundai Palisade. I'm going to use this camera to help me because it's a bit of an illustrative journey, people. So on this steering wheel, you will find a mute button there. If you hold that mute button down, it'll come up there and you'll see that the little speed sign warning thing has been switched off. Speed limit warning sound off. So if you don't like things telling you that you're going 1 kilometre an hour over the speed limit, you can switch that off if you don't like it. Now there's also a favorite button here, which has been set up in this car to allow you to go in here and turn off your driver attention warning. Now there's attention and inattentive driving. So yes, there's two different warnings that you have to turn off every single time. And it's all because of this little bloody camera that might give you the annoyances like it does to me. And then there's also this little control here. So that's your lane keeping button. I switched that off as well, as you can see up there. And yes, it just pushes you around a little bit too much in the lane, but it also reactivates when you put the cruise control on, and will do steering assist as well. If you don't want that, it's a sequence that you have to get used to going through. But yeah, it obviously takes a lot less time than that when you actually own the car. Let's go for a drive and I'll show you what it's like. And honestly, I think those safety systems, they're better than they were in other cars. And there's also now a mute system, so it will permanently turn off the new speed sign warning, which is a big plus in my mind because it can be shitful if you, well, drive through a lot of speed zones. It can even get it wrong a lot. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But otherwise, the drive experience in this car, apart from those little annoyances, it's actually really, really good. It is so lovely to drive. It's a big vehicle, but doesn't feel too big to steer, and the ride comfort is a big plus as well. So it has an Australian suspension damper tune system for this car. So it has been basically tailored to our specific requirements. And I'm on a pretty bumpy street right now. And I have to say, the ride comfort is very good. Considering it's got 21-inch wheels with low profile tires, you sort of hear the lumps and bumps in the surface more than you feel them, which is a big plus. And they're not noisy. It's just something that you can notice is you hear a bit of pitter patter happening. But it's pretty impressive in terms of the ride comfort, and the steering and drivability is also really great. So as I said, it's a big vehicle, but it doesn't feel big to drive. It can turn around in a very tight area. It's not like you're gonna have to do 7-point turns, but you might need to do 3-point turns in some streets, but it is still more maneuverable than you might be predicting it to be given its size. It's also secure and comfortable and planted feeling on the highway at higher speeds. It does have all-wheel drive, so that helps in that regard, and it is just a very comprehensively done dynamic experience. It's not super enthusiastic, and nor is it off-road focused, but if you want that, the XRT model is coming, and who knows, they might do an N model one day. I doubt it, but you know, who knows? Now, let's talk about the rest of the experience in terms of the powertrain. So you do have this 2.5 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine, and it's great in combination with the electrification. It's just that the engine, as you can hear, is quite noisy, and it's maybe more noticeable because otherwise it can be silent, because it can drive fully electric in a mix of different situations. So if you are just cruising along the freeway or on the highway or on a country road or in town or parking, it can activate EV very readily, and it's super duper smooth when it transitions. It's just the noise when the engine comes back to life, it's noticeable. And look, the transmission is a quirky one in that it's got the electric motor integrated into it, and that means that you can feel gear shifts in EV mode, which is peculiar, but you do get used to it. And the smoothness and logic of the transmission is excellent. It does a really commendable job at managing the power, managing the load, and just getting it done relatively smoothly. There's something else I want to call out though. Unlike some other hybrid Hyundais, it doesn't have a adjustable regen braking system. So in a Kona, for instance, you can play with different braking modes to make it more one pedal-ish or not, but that doesn't exist in the Palisade, and it's a bit of a peculiar thing because I think it would be nice to adjust the regen experience, because otherwise it's just pretty free-flowing like a regular internal combustion car. That might be kind of perfect for you if you don't necessarily like the feeling of regen braking, but for those who are looking for that eco experience, it could be an issue. Otherwise, the brake pedal feel is really good. The refinement's great. It's, you know, feeling like the money that's being asked in terms of the drive experience. I've got to say, I just wish the engine was just a bit quieter. But what about efficiency? Because it is a hybrid, a big one, but let's talk about it now. All right, on your screen, you will see the official combined cycle fuel consumption figure for the Palisade Hybrid. And that's not as low as you might be expecting. It is still relatively thirsty. I mean, compared to like the previous Palisade diesel, which in a lot of instances you could be getting 6 litres per 100. In this car, it's a bit thirstier than that. In fact, I've seen almost 9 litres per 100 across a mix of driving, the same sort of stuff you might do, urban, highway, freeway, stop, start, school drop off, that sort of stuff, errands. But I also haven't had it loaded up. It's just been either me, my partner and my kid, or just one parent and the kid. So yeah, you tell me if you think that the fuel consumption is good enough. If you're wondering about the fuel requirement, that's on your screen now. And it does have a big fuel tank. So you will be able to get a lot of Ks out of a tank. But yeah, it's whether you think that the efficiency is good enough that might end up being a decision maker for you for this one. This car hasn't been rated by ANCAP just yet. It won't be done by Euro NCAP because it's not going to be sold in Europe, but the brand has said that it is targeting a 5-star score. It does have heaps of standard safety tech and equipment, things like autonomous emergency braking, lane keeping assistance, adaptive cruise control, there's a speed sign recognition system, which might annoy you, and there's also a driver monitoring camera, which might annoy you. And if you don't want to have them on, well, you have to turn them off every single time you drive the car. But you've also got blind spot monitoring. There's a blind spot view camera system. There's also a surround view camera system, rear cross traffic alert, front and rear parking sensors, and plenty of other safety features beyond that. Now, when it comes to the airbags, there are 8 fitted to this vehicle. You've got dual front, front side, a front center airbag, a driver's knee airbag, and curtain coverage for the entire 3 rows of seats, which is excellent. So it does have loads and loads of safety tech. It's just whether you like living with some of those systems that might determine whether it's going to be right for you or not. Did you know that Hyundai now offers a 7-year warranty, but you do have to service with the brand in order to get that. If you don't, you still get a 5-year unlimited kilometer warranty, which is good and has been for a long time for this brand. Now, let's talk about some of the servicing considerations for the new Palisade. Intervals, a little bit short, it's a bit needy, 12 months and 10,000 kilometers for each service interval. And there is a couple of considerations when it comes to the servicing itself. So you can prepay in 3, 4 or 5 year plans. You'll see the pricing for them on your screen. Remember, that's 3 years, 30,000, 4 years, 40,000, 5 years, 50,000. I was good at maths at school. And then you've also got the potential for cap price servicing through the brand instead, if that's what you prefer. The average service cost is, well, class competitive in the $500 range per visit. But remember, if you do lots and lots of kilometers, it could be very expensive to maintain this car because it is quite needy when it comes to those servicing requirements. But if you do service with Hyundai, you can get roadside assistance topped up each time, forever, which is pretty good. I reckon this is going to meet the needs of plenty of Australian customers because it's a 3-row, family-friendly hybrid SUV from a reputable brand. And look, it might be expensive, but it is very impressive in a lot of different ways. I just don't know whether it justifies that high a price, but say what you reckon in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and I'm sure Hyundai would too. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you when I see you.